what if a war was to happen? What would happen to Dubai? And now we know.
Sort of. But for Iran to send larger hardware just wouldn't make sense. I mean, the whole world would team up against Iran. So I think most of this, and this is what I think Jewel refers to as theater, was that the drones are more to send to places that would cause fear, as well as to target, obviously, some energy infrastructure. But again, it's not the larger hardware that reportedly Iran has that they could have sent. But nonetheless, I think it was tried, tested, and now trusted. That's number one. They sort of have seen what Iran does when pressured. Like, all right, that's what you do. Cool. Eventually, you're going to run out of capabilities. And if we're rich and we still got ties with Israel and the USA, we don't. Remember all this crap? They're going to run out of interceptors and all this stuff. You remember this stuff?
Yeah.
All these experts. And they turned out to be wrong. Right? It ended up actually being the opposite. But in the end, it seemed that, Iran was falling behind because the rate at which they were sending these missiles and drones was reducing. I think it was just super obvious. Even if you didn't know stats, people in Dubai started hearing less. So pretty obvious. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I think UAE has wanted to leave OPEC for a while. And to be fair with you, and sorry, MBZ, please forgive me, I'm not sure they were sticking to those quotas. You're supposed to, but were they actually sticking to those quotas? Hey, and brah, sir,
Sure.
your highness, if you didn't, I support you. You do you. You're our G, state crafter. Now notice my language there. Notice my language. Sorry, bro. Just maybe. Okay. I'd have done the same thing, by the way. I don't think that there's any honor there's nothing noble about honoring quotas that support everyone else and not you. So I think they wanted to leave OPEC for a while, and I think the writing has been on the wall for a while. Now,
And I think now would have been the perfect time to do it.
perfect time. The reason why is because I think they fear bloody conflict less, especially with Saudi and Iran. Okay, so if they feel they're confident enough, powerful enough to be able to withstand any potential fuckery from other groups or even states in the region, they think, all right, increase our oil capabilities. Dubai's tourism is affected anyway, so they're already between a rock and a hard place. Dubai's tourism is affected. We know this. Everyone says, hey, right now Dubai is dead. Usually it's not. This is not some secret. So they lean back on Abu Dhabi and lean back on energy. And this is where my crazy idea comes from. Okay. Now, this idea comes from two places. Number one, me learning about everything that I have over the last 20 years in macro. Number two, a tweet that I read from Elon Musk, which I'm going to talk about first. He says, at some point, it's not about consumption anymore. It's just about capital allocation. Like, you don't even have to work anymore. You're done with consuming. You're done with buying the Ferraris, the jets. All it is about, where do I put these assets into other places to make my money work for me, even if I die tomorrow? No active work. And in Abu Dhabi, they do have this in-house op when it comes to extracting energy, producing it, sending it out. They've got the entire pipeline set up. And the craziest idea of all is, imagine you could create the perfect or near perfect iron dome around this energy infrastructure that no one could get to. And now you leave OPEC and say, well, we know you ain't bombing our energy infrastructure, none of y'all. We produce more, we sell more, we make more money. And guess what? Instead of worrying constantly about what happens to Dubai, what happens in Ras, what happens with this region, because we know these Middle Easterners, most of them can't behave, let's make some money with oil and do what we've always done. With the surplus, let's invest outside of the region so that no matter what happens inside of Dubai or inside of the region, we're still going to get fat and rich. We just protect the oil and then we invest it where? Hey, let's invest it where all the best investors typically invest. And where do they invest? We invest in the West. Let's actually invest in the West where there's no wars. Let's invest in the US, the strong US. Let's invest in big tech companies. Let's invest in Asia. Let's invest in Europe. Let's invest in so many places that no one will want to invade us because they're all invested with us. I mean, if you think about how many billions, trillions even, are invested in the US from the UAE, it's in the US's best interest to take care of the UAE, which is where my confusion was in the beginning. I couldn't believe that, the UAE were being almost ignored by Trump. And maybe they were. But then it obviously got to the point where they would have maybe had to say, hey, bro, like, we've invested in your tech companies and in the US, like, you're going to have to do something here. We want to leave OPEC. You supporting us, bro? And Trump's like, yeah, cuz, for sure. That's how I kind of feel it went down. Could be wrong, but something like that. So I just feel like the UAE as a whole, when it comes to GDP per capita, actual profits for their people, Dubai is a bonus. Even Dubai has sovereign wealth funds, bro. Dubai doesn't need tourists anymore. They have their own domestic economy, meaning people that live there, go to the coffee shop, come home and sleep, not tourists. They have their own real estate economy. And guess what they just did 2 days ago? They reduced the minimum investment in order to get that visa. Did you see that?
There's no minimum investment anymore.
That's clearly going to bring the next tier of people in. People that were poorer, that couldn't quite afford what was it, 750,000 dirhams or whatever? Something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's another way for them to pull a lever. Turkey does this. They go, all right, Turkey, you do that. We'll do one too. Now, is it a bit of a race to the bottom when it comes to supporting that like expat community? Yeah, sure. But if you've got all that oil in Abu Dhabi and you're producing more and then you're reinvesting it into these sovereigns, which are reinvesting it into the US, who gives a shit? This is a bonus. So they are pulling all of their levers right now, the UAE. Statecraft with Saudi, statecraft with Turkey, or whoever else is trying to vampire attack them with their economic model for expats. And it's like, I just can't see them losing.
You know, there's like 217 countries in the world, and we keep looking at the UAE. It's because no one else is playing this smart. And we're watching their moves, and it's genius. And we're studying it, and we're like dissecting it. The other country that does this really good that we always follow is America. America always 3 moves ahead, 4 moves ahead. So I don't want anyone to think we're just talking about the UAE. No one else is giving us anything to talk about.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know who else to cite. I mean, I can say Singapore, but since Lee Kuan Yew left, I feel like they have just stabilized. They haven't, exponentially increased their ambition. So as much as I like Singapore, I do believe that their reign of continually expanding as far as an economy goes is not at the same rate and risk of the UAE. I mean, the UAE takes a lot of risks. They're calculated risks, but they're risks nonetheless. There's always a way for these decisions to backfire, whereas Singapore are extremely, I would say, risk averse at this point.
Yeah.
As much as their come up was an equally incredible story, with Lee Kuan Yew, my favorite leader, they've definitely leveled off in recent times. The reason I can't really put the USA in the same category as the UAE is because they're such a big country, bro. They are the global superpower. Now, per person, per unit of capital they have at their hands, I don't think they use their power as wisely per capita, per energy unit. The UAE does. The only people that I would put next to the UAE will be Israel. Israel lobbying and basically integrating themselves in the US presidential democracy. I mean, that is the story. But everyone knows that story now, so it's less interesting, I guess. And now people just see Israel as this major power, even though if you actually have a look at the citizen population, there's not that many of them. So I'll put Israel up there, UAE up there, Singapore up there, USA only because they're just so big. And as a means of geography, meaning where they are, it's fucked. It's so hard. Whereas when you talk about the Ukraine, I mean, they border Russia, bro. They were born with, a handicap.
Yeah.
Same with like Iraq, bro. I mean, look where they are next to Iran. Look where the UAE is with the Strait of Hormuz. They have really done so much with very limited geography.